I like to think about how Jesus entered the world, not in comfort or luxury, but in poverty. Today, we often hold this modern belief that for a child to come into the world, everything must be perfect. The finances must be secure, the home must be stable, the career in order, the education planned, and 1,000 other boxes checked off before life can begin. We tell ourselves that unless everything is ideal, it's not the right time. But when we look at the birth of Jesus, we see something entirely different. The Savior of the world was born not in a palace, but in a stable. His parents weren't rich or powerful, they were ordinary people living under the weight of poverty and oppression. They had to travel for a government census while Mary was heavily pregnant, an exhausting, dangerous journey. When they arrived, there was no room for them anywhere. The Son of God entered the world in conditions we would call unacceptable, even desperate. And yet, God was there. Even in those less than ideal circumstances, His plan unfolded perfectly. The circumstances that looked like chaos, a poor couple, a long journey, a birth among animals, were exactly the ones God chose. Because what mattered most wasn't the perfection of the situation, but the perfection of His purpose. Sometimes we forget that. We think God only works when everything is in order, when we have stability, resources, and control. But God often chooses to work through disorder, through struggle, through imperfection. It was more important for Jesus to be born in the midst of hardship than to wait for everything to be ready. And the same is true for us. We never know how a life will turn out. People who grow up in comfort and security don't always find meaning or purpose. And those who begin life in hardship, with broken homes, financial struggle, and countless obstacles, often become the very people who change the world. Their strength is forged in struggle, their compassion is born from pain, their greatness comes from perseverance. So maybe God doesn't need perfect circumstances. Maybe what He needs is willing hearts. When we trust Him, even when life feels messy, uncertain, and unprepared, He brings beauty out of imperfection. He takes what looks like weakness and turns it into strength. The lesson is simple but profound. God values life itself, not the conditions surrounding it. If God chose to enter the world through poverty and difficulty, then no situation is too broken, too unstable, or too imperfect for Him to work in. So don't wait for everything to be perfect to begin, to act, or to trust Him. Embrace life. Embrace God. He'll make the rest work out, just as He did that night in Bethlehem.